COVID-19 lockdown regulations continue to disrupt the basic education sector. The department has proposed scrapping the October school holidays to make up for lost teaching time. Under the 2021 calendar, pupils are meant to go on holiday from the 1st of October to the 11th. Let's discuss this further with Chris Klopper, a CEO of the South African Teachers Union. Chris, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. So I've looked at your statement and it seems like some unions are not happy with this push. What are you saying?
Well, what I'm saying is that all the unions are not comfortable with it. In fact, they reject it. And we also know that the school governing body organizations also do not support this particular proposal. It is unilateral. It was not consulted with us. And they took a decision in our absence. And we found that unacceptable when such an important matter is decided on unilaterally.
So you are listing other reasons for why you don't think this should go ahead outside from the lack of consultation. Just take us through those concerns.
Well, first of all, you know that when you deal with this particular matter, you must bear in mind that we are dealing with a very serious pandemic at the current moment. And education, like all other sectors, will be one of those sectors that will be affected by it. Teachers are doing their utmost to ensure that the curriculum is covered. And as far as we can ascertain, many of the schools are up to date and are not behind on the curriculum. And what is furthermore is that we must bear in mind that there's a very good reason, why school terms are divided into 4 equal terms of about 50 days each. If they scrap the October holidays, you're looking at about an average term of about 120, 119 days. And young children need time to recuperate, they need time to rest and prepare for the examinations that will follow in the last term. It just does not make sense, to scrap all of that in the so-called almost anxiety to cover the curriculum while endangering the lives of learners as well as teachers. And this goes hand in hand with the proposal that the social distancing must be reduced to 0.5 meters or half a meter. You can think for yourself how full classes will be, and we all know that young children, they are not as susceptible to be infected, but the reality is that the teacher in the class is going to be at risk, and that is something that we can't afford at this stage. And there's no scientific evidence whatsoever that has been submitted to us to prove that it will not endanger the lives of learners and especially the teachers in the classroom.
Wow, that's quite surprising because when this first emerged, I spoke to the education department about this and they said that they were going to consult with teacher unions about the 0.5 meter push and explain the scientific research that they did have. So you're saying that didn't happen because I spoke to them about 3 weeks ago.
It didn't happen. What we did is about 2 weeks ago, we heard about these rumors about the scrapping of the October holidays and the reduction of the social distancing. And we requested a meeting with the Department of Basic Education. That meeting took place on our insistence on Saturday afternoon. And only then, did they admit that they are busy with plans in this regard. Up until then, it wasn't discussed with us at all. And there's a dangerous tendency of taking unilateral decisions in our absence. And with regard to the October holidays, they took the decision, the political heads of the various departments as well as the executive heads, and they just told us that this decision has been taken, and we find that completely unacceptable.
Chris, just to play devil's advocate a bit, right? I mean, obviously we know that pupils did get a couple extra days off because of the lockdown measures that were put in place. So if they have to go to school now to make up time, why don't you think that's going to be okay? Yeah, we've lost connection to Chris. We'll try to reestablish it. Maybe we can go back to him after the break. It's an important conversation to have. Chris Klopper from the South African Teachers Union CEO. Oh, Chris, there we go. Have you back. The God's in our favor, I see. So I was talking about, the fact that some pupils or many pupils were given extended breaks because of the lockdown regulations. And to make up the time now, the department is saying we should cancel this holiday. It makes sense logically when you look at it, right? So why not cancel the holiday?
From our side, we would propose the following. First of all, to say that utilize the last 2 weeks of this year, because district officers insist that the promotion sheets and the mark sheets have to be submitted to them by the end of November. Although the schools then close mid-December, nothing happens in those last 2 weeks. So first of all, have a discussion with the district officers and shift those submission dates, a week or two later. Then secondly, we know that COVID has proven that professional discretion and the judgment of teachers and principals can be trusted, and make sure that you don't treat all schools with a one-size-fits-all approach. You can't have a centralized system where you try to treat each and every school on exactly the same basis. And then most of all, important is, if there is a backlog, then focus on those important subjects, the core subjects. Everybody says all subjects are equal, but the reality is that some subjects are more equal than others. And we know that if you want to improve the education system at large, focus on languages, writing and reading, and mathematics, and then focus on calculations and the basic principles. If you can do that, you will ensure that learners are up to date and that they do not fall behind. So our proposal is look at this pragmatically and not try to deal with this as a so-called, a sum to say that at all costs we must ensure 200 school days, because that just doesn't work.
Yeah. You mentioned that, teachers have managed to catch pupils up in terms of the curriculum and the timeline set for the year. But how confident are you that this is happening in all schools across the country? Because there are some schools that have had to shut down because of a high number of infections.
It is true. That is absolutely true. And treat those schools with regard to the particular disruptions that they've experienced. But don't try to treat all the other schools on exactly the same basis, because it doesn't make sense. It can't be a one-size-fits-all approach. Deal with it in a systematic, in a rational manner, and treat those schools that require additional attention. You focus on them.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and your insight. Appreciate it. That, of course, is Chris Klopper from the South African Teachers Union. He's the CEO.